Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. I like to answer questions first. If you have a question, leave it in the chat box. And last week, the question was the most important one was, should people be charging money for disseminating spiritual information? Money is an energy exchange. Unless you are a confirmed breatharian and know how to literally live by just breathing prana from the air, you have to feed yourself. And yes, I feel absolutely people should charge. However, there's a caveat. Because the questioner also asked, there's people out there that take you for a ride, or something to that effect. That they're not sincere, that they're not valid. This is where your gut instinct comes in. If you feel something is wrong, I will guarantee you something is wrong, because it's your feelings that connect you to God. One of my clients that was in college and came to me, and he had a horrible experience with apparently a woman who kept soaking him for money because she kept telling him that he had this curse or that curse on him, and that he needed to buy this from her and that from her, and to the tune of about $4,000 to $5,000. And I'm listening to him, and I'm scanning his body, and I don't see any evidence of anything that she was talking about. So I basically told him, I said, you were just taken for a ride. He had other issues. We obviously had to clear them. One of them obviously was trusting himself, trusting the fact that he knew what was best. The other was completing a course. He only had 3 credit hours to graduate, and he was going to give up a 4-year college degree because he couldn't get through a course. And what I how my suggestion to him was, take 1 semester, because he was obviously taking that one particular class in the middle of taking 5 other classes. And so he was just kind of blowing it off. So I said, take 1 semester and just concentrate on that class, and you'll get through it with no problem. And that's exactly what he did, because he basically said, but I'm going back to my home country. I'm working for my father. I'm going into the family business. I don't really need a college degree. And I said, you never know what life has in store for you. You may come back here to the United States at some point in your life and be blocked from getting a job that you want because you don't have that degree. I mean, 3 credit hours, that's nothing. So, anyway, um, but just getting back to the original question, do you should you charge money? I feel absolutely. But if you're being asked to give your faith, to put your faith into something like maybe a crystal that has been programmed just for you, and that crystal on the open market maybe costs 45 bucks tops, but you're being charged 1,500 for it because of the fact that that crystal has been programmed to enhance your energy. Back off. That to me is a scam. Um, you can program your own crystals. They are there's a wonderful book out there called Book of Stones by Robert Simmons and Naisha Asian, which is Naisha backwards. So, and they talk they get their information from talking to the deva of each stone. So they come in with all the spiritual truths behind the stones. And they, just give wonderful, wonderful information. But anyway, I'm digressing. And so let's go on with the subject matter for today. I would like to share with you the ability to sense energy distortions from what you see, what you feel, what you taste in your mouth. And and it doesn't matter if you're a healer or not. I It's my lexicon that we are each given the same gifts. It's up to us to uncover the awareness of the gifts. It's up to us to have the ability to say, yes, I have these gifts, rather than just turning our power over to somebody else and feeling that, geez, they have the truth for us. We don't have the truth for ourselves. I disagree with that. So, this is why one of my motivations for doing these videos, so that every single person who is guided and led to this um, can just learn a little bit more. First thing that you might see are symbols. Symbols can be things like something that stands for something else. Like, for example, instead of being led to a past life of somebody, you might see an ancient temple with an Egyptian god in it. You might see a pyramid. You might see an obelisk. Those are all going to lead you to where this person, in my case, to the past life that is influencing this lifetime. That seems to be my special gift, is that wherever I go, whatever past life I see, it's the one that is influencing this lifetime. And so that's the importance of a symbol. An extreme example of symbols are sacred geometry. Now, if you don't know what sacred geometry is, I would recommend always start with the internet. There's so much information on the internet that's free. And just Google sacred geometry and see what they say about the type of symbols that are available. There are an immense number of symbols in sacred geometry. There's something called the Platonic solids, and there's 5 of them, 5 crystals that fit in 5 shapes, I should say, that fit into the Platonic solids. I'm going to have a separate thing on sacred geometry, so I'm not going to go into it more than this. Um, but they every one of them means something. If you The next thing besides symbols is pictures. You just see a picture comes into your mind. Could be a horse, could be a butterfly, could be an orange, could be an uh, apple, could be a rose, could be, some kind of picture forms. And when you're with that person, ask them. Or if you're doing a healing on that person, and just tell them, this is what I see for you, and see what they have to say about it. Recently, I've had some very interesting discussions of the what I have seen versus what my client, the relevance that it had to my client. And in each case, there was absolute relevance. So if you continuously, if an animal continuously, like an eagle, swoops in and out. I know eagle is my totem animal. That's the animal I was born with. My daughter has hawk, and the hawk is known for its unbelievably keen eyesight. So is the eagle, but they have many characteristics that are the same. But every time she comes to Virginia, she sees a hawk. I never see a hawk. And sometimes I take a walk 3 times a week, never see a hawk. She will come walk with me once. There's a hawk or two that she spots. I saw my I knew there was an owl close by a couple years ago, but I never saw one, and I kept saying, "I want to see an owl. I want to see an owl." I finally did see one last summer. It was just a little guy, it wasn't very big, very, very clear. I got to see the whole owl, juvenile, didn't look like an adult, but I was so excited because I hear them always, that "Hoo, hoo," and I just wanted to see one, and I did. Next thing is colors. The colors of the rainbow are typically the colors that either you will see or your client will see or your friends will see. And each color stands for something. The colors of the rainbow are the colors of the chakras in the same exact order. Starting, the root chakra is red, the sacral chakra is orange, the solar plexus is yellow, the heart is green or pink, throat is blue, uh, third eye is indigo, and fourth is purple, except that I always see it as lavender or white. And I never really see this as purple. I always see it as lavender. But and third eye, I will usually see purple. So anyway, that's just a little different for me. But there's also silver and gold and peach, and it's like Joseph's coat of many colors. There's so many other colors that might come in, and if if you see a different color, just ask, what does that mean? When I see silver, it comes in very shimmering, and then I might see what I call iridescent, that multicolor that it's almost like fairy dust. It's absolutely beautiful. And just like I said, ask, what does that mean? The next thing, and this is very, very common, you will have feelings of emotional imbalances or a feeling of being stabbed in the back, betrayal, a feeling of tremendous pain across your shoulders, that like Atlas carrying the world on his shoulders, a feeling of a huge unbalance in the stomach area or the heart or the lungs or the kidneys, and you need to pay attention to that, because those feelings, whether they're your own or somebody else's, are cluing you in as to where the problem is. Um, and it's so interesting that in our culture, most of the time, the first thing that people want to do is get rid of the feeling, get rid of the pain. They never ever want to follow through and ask the pain, what does this mean? What are you trying to tell me? They just want to take the ibuprofen, take the Tylenol, take the Advil, um, and or worse, uh, higher drugs, and just to get rid of it, never really understanding that those feelings are leading you to something important, to an imbalance in you. It's interesting that I still remember this. This was a psych professor that I had, at the University of Michigan. He said, most psychoses and neuroses start from the fact that people do not want to feel 20 minutes of pain. That I found was an amazing statement. I just felt that is something that I would have never, ever, ever considered in my life. 20 minutes of pain. And my sense from what he was teaching was that by allowing that pain to course through your body, you'd get the message of what that pain was trying to teach you. Um, Other sensations are uh, uh, okay. The next one is just sensations, and this is probably could be in your hands, could be in other parts of your body, but if you start feeling, I can remember the first time I scanned somebody, and I had not a clue about. I knew nothing about energy. I knew nothing about uh, what this meant, but he just basically the instructor just said, "All right, put your hand 4 inches away, non-dominant hand 4 inches away from the other person, and just go up and down the body very slowly, and see if you can feel any distortion." And sure enough, when I came to a certain point, um, it totally felt different than the other part. And when I asked him about it, he says, "Oh, yeah, I had, uh, I guess, an appendix removed or something like that." So there was still something registering from that. It could have been tremendous fear of having maybe his appendix burst, um, but or because it just felt different. It felt sludgy. It felt like I was going through something harder than the rest of his body. And so that was my first introduction to feeling, scanning somebody else. You might feel electrical impulses, pulsations, shock, piercing feeling. You might feel throbbing pain, no matter what it is that uh, you're going to feel something coming from the other person. Interestingly enough, I can't tell you how many people I have heard say this. I'm an empath. I can't go out into the public because I cannot tolerate picking up everybody else's feelings. I'll guarantee you, I'm an empath. I have made a deal with my guides that I've asked them, let me feel the other person's pain for 5 to 10 seconds. That's all. I don't need to feel it any longer to understand what they're going through. And the same can apply to yourself. If you feel betrayed, especially by somebody you loved or somebody that's close to you, that could feel like a stab in the back. That hurts. Doesn't matter whether you're picking it up from somebody else or that it happened to you. Understand that when you get that feeling, you have to, if it's inside you, you have to deal with it. You have to and talk it out with that person. And if that's impossible, because we all know that we have people in our life that it wouldn't matter what you explain to them, it wouldn't matter how you explain to them, they'd misinterpret it, they'd turn it on you, they'd make it your fault. And so then you have to talk it over with somebody you trust, somebody that you completely trust to keep your confidence. Um, this isn't necessarily a best friend. So, and there are professional hotlines out there. They're meant for suicide victims. I don't think that But there's other type of groups that are available that these can be discussed, especially if addiction is involved. Addiction of, any type has its own professional group energy. So anyway, that's feelings. Um, a very little known one is tasting. If you are working on somebody or you start tasting, especially a metal type of taste in your mouth, be tested for it. It could be that you are lagging in it. I know a couple times in my life, I've, iron was recommended for me, but recently zinc. I don't know what zinc tastes like, but when I brought the pills home, it tastes chalky. If I don't swallow it exactly right, then I know, oh, okay, every time I got a sensation in my mouth that felt kind of like dust or powder, that was the presence of zinc. That was absent in my life. So uh, you could there are times you might need something that is bitter, and there are foods out there that have a bitter quality, but you'll get a sensation of that in your throat. So pay attention to that. The last type that I just wanted to review, knowing. You don't get any of the affirmation of what I've mentioned already. You just get a direct download, and you get that when you completely trust what you are given. I had to go through many baptisms of fire before I got to the point where I completely trusted every single thing that my guides gave to me, God gave to me, my angels gave to me, archangels, ascended masters, even other beings in spirit that may have come in for a certain reason or other. So just know that when you get to a place of knowing, you've cleared out doubt. You've cleared out the need to have any other kind of proof. In other words, you shut down your ego mind. Your ego is important up to a point, and then you can set it aside and just go with the spirit mind. So anyway, and like I said, I'm going to finish now, but I'm going to read your comments after I finish, and if there are any questions, I'll address them next time. I will see you next week. I have the good fortune of having my son come home with his family. And instead of us going to New York to celebrate his birthday, he'll be at our home, but he won't get in till like midnight on Friday. So I have the time on Friday to do the session. And I hope you all had a great, what I call day at a time, February 29th. I know it's not that, but that's what I call it. And I had to laugh because yesterday during my morning prayers, all of a sudden I heard this little voice inside my head that wasn't very little. And it said, top of the morning to you. And so I presumed somehow or other there was a little leprechaun around me that I just didn't see, and was very, very happy about that. If you have any questions about my services, about what I do, my website is Alicia, ALICJA, Jones.com. Alicia is the Polish spelling of Alice, Alicia Jones. And if you need a book on meditation, this is the best that's out there. Own Your Power Day by Day. 750 pages. You read 2 pages a day. I thank you. I bless you. And I will look forward to being here next week. Don't really have my topic yet, but yeah, it'll be interesting, whatever it is. Thank you. Take take care and have a great week.